friends, ladies and gentlemen, namaste. I am so very happy to welcome all of you here today. As you all know that luxury is an interesting subject, but it is also a very vast subject. And if I have to tell you that we can make a web series out of it with 100 episodes. So this is the first episode and we have in mind to do at least 3-4 more. But in order to do that, we need to give you something, some insights and make it interesting for you. So this is our first attempt. And I would really encourage you and request you to please ask as many questions as possible. We have eminent personalities and leaders in their respective domain. So you ask questions, and in the question and answer box, plus there is a chat box. You are free to comment, criticize, suggest. So I'm sure you are as eager as I am to listen to our panelists. So I'm going to greet them on your behalf. So we have 3 of them here. Mahul Brahma is going to join us a little later as something has come up for him. So let me begin by wishing Philip Roten. So he's the CEO of Favre Luba, which is world's second oldest Swiss watchmaking company. Okay, and he has joined in January this year, and this is the first time he is going to address all of us. Now we also have Sachin Jain. Everybody knows Sachin Jain in India. Philip, of course, is joining us from his office in Solothurn, Switzerland. Sachin is in Delhi just now. He's the managing director of De Beers in India. He's really a rock star. And I will tell you more about Mahul once he joins. So now, taking things forward, luxury is such a concept that it is very subjective. So, for example, the word deluxe is used so many times. You have a deluxe laundry, you have a deluxe saloon, you have a deluxe photo shop and whatnot. So that denotes that everybody likes luxury. But luxury is also very subjective. The perception changes from person to person. Now, when we are talking about luxury brands, they create an emotion in your mind, and they also elicit a very strong reaction, because some people may identify with a particular brand. For example, a person who's in his 50s, if you tell him that Apple is a luxury brand, he will not agree, but the young person will definitely agree. So the perception differ, and it is the brands, and we have created the confusion, because when we talk about luxury, we also talk about classic luxury, contemporary luxury, old luxury, new luxury, affordable luxury, accessible luxury, intermediate luxury, and there are so many other classification definitions. And there are several brands, which cater to each of these segments. And the borderline is hazy, because they tend to overlap with each other. So I'm not going to go much deeper into defining luxury, but I'm going to share a framework with you, which was introduced by A.T. Kearney. According to A.T. Kearney, the luxury business has 3 distinct segments: luxury products, luxury assets, and luxury services. So the watches and jewelry would fall under luxury products as well as luxury assets, because the high-end watches and high-end jewelry, their value appreciates in time. For example, Patek Philippe or Rolex, some of the models, their price goes up by several times over the passage of time. So that's about luxury. And basically, watches and jewelry contribute to almost a third of the products market. Okay. So moving on, as we all know, to use the cliche, the world is changing fast. So I'm going to use 2 words to denote the changes. 2 words, or rather acronyms. One is the VUCA. So change, and basically I'm talking about the change in the business environment, because as adults, we spend most of our time working. So V stands for vulnerability, U for uncertainty, C for complexity, and A for ambiguity. So this is the cause. And what is the effect? The term VOCA, or the acronym VOCA, is the result. So there's a cause and effect relationship. So what does B stand for? B stands for borderless boundaries. And O stands for work overload. Then C again, extreme complexity. And A again is addiction to technology. So as a result, what happens is when we are talking about borderless boundaries, it doesn't only mean geographical boundaries. Of course, we interact with people from different parts of the world who have different culture and they live in different time zones. For example, Philip today has joined us from Switzerland. So likewise, there is an overlap. When we talk about borderless blurring boundaries, it also means today increasingly a lot of the work which human beings were doing is being done by machines. So there is an overlap there also. Now organizations have become very complex. Earlier there was one boss, but today you report functionally to A, administratively to B, but you are also responsible for a team. So that is another change. So when everything is changing now, addiction to technology. See, with the digitalization encompassing all of us, we are constantly distracted. We get so many mails, we get so many WhatsApp messages, we get phone calls. So there is a limit on human attention. So basically, the job of a luxury brand or a luxury product is to make life easier for you, things simpler for you. But look at the Swiss watch industry. When we are already living in a complex world, they launch complications rather than making things easy for them. So I'm just joking. So in order to navigate through all this maze and what are the things happening today, as we all know, things are not as good as they were pre-COVID. But when I'm talking about change, it is not just because of COVID. Changes happen over a period of time. But what has happened is the COVID has accelerated the digitalization process, which is a very good thing. But it has also aggravated certain problems. There is a demand contraction. And if you are a retailer, then you will find that if you have excess inventory, you are in trouble. If you have too many physical stores and don't have an e-commerce presence, you are in trouble. So these are some of the issues which are facing the industry today. And we have speakers, as I already told you. So I will begin my dialogue with Philip Roten. So Philip, welcome. And I take the opportunity not only to welcome you, but also to thank you. Because you have chosen this platform, Luxe Talks, to address the Indian audience for the very first time. So thank you very much. And I am also appreciating the efforts which your team has taken, whether it is Hemang, who's based in Bombay, or even your PR team and the marketing team, Rima and Tanya, they have been very supportive. So to begin with, while Pavra has a deep connect, it is a long association with the Indian people. But most of Indians, while they remember the brand, they remember it as a watch which their fathers or grandfathers wore. And typically the middle class people, they used to wear a steel watch. But suddenly, today now you are taking a position, you are transitioning from a popular watch to a luxury watch, which people find it difficult to digest. Because when I was communicating over the Facebook and other social media, there were comments. Afra is a luxury brand, is it so? So I replied, brother, things go on changing. So please keep updated and study more about the brand and of course attend the webinar. So I would like you to take us through the journey of the brand as a first step. Over to you, Philip.
Thank you much. Thank you very much. Dear Anil, thank you very much for welcoming me, dear friends in India. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a real pleasure for me to join this discussion and giving me the opportunity to present and to talk about Faber Loeber as a brand. And as you already mentioned, luxury is a broad term, but very often luxury is linked to a price. But for me, there is much more. It's about ethics, how you work in a company, how you create your products, how you produce your products. It's about the retail partners you have out in the market. It's about the materials you are using. It's about the design, and it's about the details of the design. So luxury for me is much more than a price. And yes, on that point of view, for me, Faber Loeber was always a luxury product. but a luxury product for an affordable price. And this is also what we want to keep into the future. We want to have affordable prices and to deliver the maximum in quality, the maximum when we talk about design, and really to bring joy on the wrist of someone who's buying a Favorluba watch. And as we also have been part of many years back of the Louis Vuitton group, this also reflects that the Favorluba was always seen as a luxury brand. And now we are very happy to be part of the Tata family. And I think this opportunity gives us a strong force to connect on the past, where, for example, Favorluba in India, in the 60s, 70s, we have sold about 600,000 watches a year. Right? So we had a huge success. And when I talk to people in India, everybody's father or grandfather, they had a Favorluba, they have a Favorluba. And there is where we want to be connected. We want to be an affordable luxury brand, getting closer to our audience. And therefore, we are working on the marketing tools and we are working on the whole collection.
So thank you very much. I think your team has shared a video for us and for all of the audience members. So with your kind permission, I would request the team to play that video for.
Thank you very much.
I think you can stop this. Huh? Yeah, thank you. That was a wonderful video. And
thank you very much.
After watching this video, at least I do not have any doubt in my mind that Favorluba is associated with luxury. Now, moving on, I would like to ask you that you have been traveling all across, and so give us a ringside view of what is happening in the luxury industry. particularly in the Swiss watch industry, globally, and more particularly in the Western markets.
Yeah. Yeah, we have to imagine that the Swiss watch industry is a small industry. Huh? We are talking there in total about 21 billion turnover Swiss francs. And when we compare it, for example, with the Apple company, they are doing more than 260 billions. So we are quite a small industry. And when I joined the watch industry in the 99, it was like taking an elevator. When I talk about turnover, when I talk about sales, it was just going up, almost double-digit growth every year. Even the financial crisis was not hitting us very heavily. So now for us, the Corona crisis is really a complete new situation. But I think it's a very healthy situation. Why? Because when you have too much success, then very often the brands, they get arrogant. You are no more focused on the product. You're no more focused on your clients. You are no more focused on your retail partners. And I think now we are going back to quality. So when we talk about numbers, just to give you an idea, the Swatch Group is the biggest watch company in Switzerland. They have announced for the first 6 months, when we talk about turnover, a minus of 40%. And the profit was a minus of about 300 million. So we have been quite hidden quite strongly. But as I said before, for me, it's really a very important moment for the whole industry to take the lead again, to be in the future much more focused on the clients, on the retail partners, and on the product itself. So for me, it's when we talk about turnover, it's quite a tough time. But when I talk about management, when I talk about the future, when I talk to improve the quality of the product, to improve the relations with our clients, the relation with our retail partners, it's a great opportunity to be stronger after the crisis than before. But at the moment, as also there are no tourists, for example, it's quite a difficult time, but I'm sure we will get through it. And also for Faber Leuba, we are really using the time to prepare ourselves for the time after the crisis. So I would say regarding numbers, it's quite heavy, but we will come back, and I'm quite sure that the brand Faber Leuba and the whole industry will be stronger after the crisis.
Great. So if I have to share some numbers, I have done some homework for this webinar, and found was in the last 5 years, even before the COVID, let's say from 2015 to 2019, the number of Swiss watches came down from 25 million to 20 million. The turnover has remained almost the same. It has not come down, more because of the price increases that the brands have done. And you have rightly pointed out about the complacency. I will not use the term arrogance because it is rather strong. It is a complacency on the part of the luxury brands. See, if you go back, let's say 10 years, 15 years, then Europe had a beautiful story. Europe was all about provenance. It was all about made in Italy brand, made in Switzerland brand, made in France. So it was really a wonderful story, and beautiful products, beautiful imagery, beautiful story. Everything was going on perfectly well. But what happened later on, due to the passage of time, is there was a pressure to grow, and the brands became not only complacent, but they became greedy, and they started licensing, and they started outsourcing the production to China, and see what has happened. And most importantly, they didn't realize the opportunity which the digital medium offered. So we will discuss more about this. And now I will like to move on to Sachin Jain. But do you have anything to add at this moment? We will of course come back to you, but if you have to add something, please do.
We will talk about it later.
Okay,
thank you.
Great. So Sachin, so wonderful to have you.
Same here.
You are such a super busy man.
Oh no, thanks.
Yeah. So like they say, a busy man and a successful man, it is good to know him, because what happens is, I know Mukesh Ambani, I know Bill Gates, but does he know you? But I can always say that Sachin Jain also knows me. So that's a big compliment.
Anil, you're only embarrassing me. That's all I can say.
No. And
that.
what I like about you is, for example, you are always accessible. And when I requested you to be a part of this webinar in 5 minutes, you agreed. So Jayant Ranika, who is my friend and the owner of Pure Jewels. He's also kind enough. He's my technology partner, and he's doing all this for me. He always tells me that, Anil, whenever you have an option of getting the work done from a person who's super busy and a person who's not so busy, you always approach the super busy person because he will do your job, or at least he will get back to you and say what is the status. So I really admire these qualities in you, and your team also, I think, is doing a wonderful job.
That's so
To begin our conversation, I found that there is a change in your designation. Your earlier title was President Forever Mark, and now you are MD DBS India. But if I recollect, when you joined, you were MD DBS India. So, what is the significance of this change in designation?
No, when I joined Anil this business, I was heading the retail. So I was the retail director. Then later I moved into Run Forever Mark. Designations don't really matter. Yeah, the fact is, what do you do? So I was
exactly. That's what I want to know,
so
and most of our viewers want to know.
Because the different board positions, we had different reasons why we changed the designations. And then recently we are looking at a whole concept of one De Beers, and I've been given the task to sort of lead that up here. So beyond Forever Mark, we have a few more entities, and also the registered company is De Beers. So I mean, there's nothing fancy about it. It's straightforward life. The idea is to go build Diamond Dream and get consumers consume diamonds, which is what the task is. So nothing has changed. I mean,
so additional responsibilities for you. That means you will become even more busy.
Don't worry about that. Really, it's all fanciness, but the core job remains same. And I would only second what Philip mentioned. The fact is that we all put our nose on the ground, keep the pulse of what's happening to the consumer, and make those decisions. I think as far as we keep doing that, we have a long-term good future.
So taking our conversation forever, again, I am saying forever, further, taking our conversation forward, sorry for the slip of tongue, your efforts and your team efforts were very visible during this process of lockdown. Because I have read somewhere that, you and your team have interacted with 3,000 sales associates at the retail level. You also interacted with the retailers and done a lot of initiatives or training programs with them, keeping them abreast of what is going around with the environment. And you have also interacted with the consumer at large and given them a lot of inputs about the allure of diamonds. So I would like you to share your experiences as to what is happening at the moment, and how do you see things shaping up in the next 6 months or so. So please.
Thank you, Anil. I think the first part of the question was what happened in the lockdown. And I think, for really 2 or 3 parts of that.
Little louder, please, because I think my
2 or 3 parts of that question, honestly. So I think during the lockdown, at least for us, it was the values of the organization absolutely on play. So as values, when we talk about, these, and, at times you say values of the company should be stuck on every wall of the company. And it's not just that, it's beyond that. And I feel extremely proud of to be a part of this team where we did pull together, which is a very important value. On the first day of lockdown, none of us knew how long this is going to go. There was anxiety, there was a bit of, angst about what the future holds. And I feel proud about that fact. We also have a value which is shaping the future, which I think, again, I feel proud that we did shape. Now, at that time, when the lockdown happened, it gave us a great opportunity to interact with our consumers, and we did the core of what our product does. And what do diamonds do? Diamonds, which is why they're beautiful. They bring grace, they bring opulence, they bring contemporary aesthetic, but they also give a bit of permanence. And we did kept that connection or that communication open with the consumers throughout the lockdown on what diamonds do and what they are. That's one part. And I think that certainly helped us later on. But you talked about the sales ambassadors and the connection that we made. So we had a daily training session for our sales ambassadors across the country. We had in total close to about 50,000 people who actually interacted with us. There was a daily quiz and all that was happening. Beyond that, we took about 10 capsule programs for the senior management and owners, and we did it on a daily basis with them as well. And that's all was on education that was relevant for our business, not just one-sided knowledge, but it was really working sessions of how wherever they were in their space of their business and we could lead it up. So that all happened, and I think we came out, every face of the of the closure or lockdown extension meant different things. Like first was about education. Then second was, are we now opening up? Then are we ready to open up? What do protocols mean at our stores? How can we get consumers back? How do you sort of do all of those things? So that was second part. Then the second part that you asked me is about what is the current outlook? And we just actually completed one of very important sentiment researches across the Indian consumer. We surveyed about close to about 1,500 consumers over 20 cities. And it's quite interesting what came out. One of the common threads that are coming out are, first is fewer, better things. And that's very important for us to understand as an industry, as luxury or whatever. But consumers are looking at fewer but better things. And better would have a different interpretation from a quality standpoint, from a brand standpoint, but that's what is in their minds. Secondly, the whole aspect of intimacy has changed. So intimacy is no more about somebody getting down on his knees and saying, I love you. You know, if you, as a couple, you're sitting on a balcony, sipping a cup of coffee with your near and dear one, that matters, and that's intimacy. So I think that recognition of how we sort of communicate and elaborate this to our consumers will be interesting. Store of value is very important right now. But the most brightest thing is that there is a need for joy, enthusiasm, you know, and this whole reason why consumers want to come back. And we are very positive that it's not all sort of over. Like Philip also defined the time of COVID, and I think COVID has not done all things that are wrong. You know, we all talk about the pause it's given us, but also it's an important time for all of us to re-energize what our brands mean to the consumer, what your category means to the consumer, and go and talk the right stuff. So that's the current outlook, and we're fairly positive about the Q4, which is October, November, December in India.
So another thing which I wanted to ask you, and which I will now do so. You have been very enthusiastic, and you are committed to not only just learning, but educating your retail partners, educating the sales associates, educating the consumer at large. You have taken your retailers to London School of Economics, as well as Cambridge University, done courses, visits to China. Personally, I have been attending your Forever Mark forum continuously 5 years in a row. And believe me, I don't want to praise you unnecessarily because I have already done that. I have always learned something. I have always come enriched with a lot of knowledge, and you have been very futuristic. We have, and you believe in cross-pollination. You have brought in speakers from different industries who have shared their knowledge. So sustainability, artificial intelligence, you even flew Sophia all the way from Hong Kong. So this year, what can we expect from the virtual Forever Mark forum? Can you let us know?
Sure, Anil. You know, 2 months back, you know, we had, when we were in the center of the pandemic, we really had two options. One, to say, let's call it off. You know, everybody's crying. It's a bit of negativity, and let the year pass by. But all of us felt that this is the most important time that the industry gets together. And there is a need to bring in a future element. And we're putting the first time a virtual Forever Mark forum. And, you know, it's not just a platform that you go and listen to people. It's a platform where you experience retail. And perhaps I would urge that whoever's coming in, and I take this opportunity to invite your guests also to be a participant in there. Because what I would love is that people get in the shoes of the consumer and come to the forum and see how futuristic retail will be. So it's an experience. It's a whole, we're launching 7 of our new technologies around AI, around the virtual, you know, different technologies that are bringing in, which will get real on retail. And I think the long-term vision that we had on the strategic side of the business, I think, you know, COVID hasn't done much. It has only accelerated that we need to get there a little quicker. So you would see all of that live, but you know, we're also getting, as you rightly said, cross-pollination. Or I think that achievers from different businesses give us a fresh perspective. And I'm a firm believer of only one element. And for me, the most important element is, you know, if I can erase this from our industry's minds, what's worked in the past that's made me successful is only going to work into the future. And if I can erase that, so everybody says that what is required today, and hence let me shape my business into the future. That's important. I think you will see into this forum all those elements. But it's going to be quite a lot of fun, a lot of cool elements coming in there. But I would love to invite you, all our guests, to be a part of the forum.
So great. Thank you so much.